FBC Durant podcast. I'm Garrett.
I'm Cory.
And I'm Sarah. And today we have Skylar with us. She is our children's minister. So yay, welcome Skylar.
Thank you.
One of the first things we're going to do, as always, is we're going to do some first takes. So just some light, easy questions, fun questions to start off with. All right, first takes question. What is your go-to comfort TV show or movie?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
This is casual.
Cash.
That's a really loaded question. Can I be like seasonal? Because right
That's fair.
now,
Keyword comfort. I like that.
comfort. Like right now, when the fall starts, I have to be watching Coraline.
Oh, really?
that
I was
weird?
not expecting that. No, I love that.
I love Coraline, but maybe like a super easy comfort movie to throw in. I love School of Rock.
Oh, it's
School of
so
Rock.
good.
Yeah,
It's me. We quote that all the time.
it's so good.
Read between the lines.
I heard something recently that watching a show over and over does something for your brain of knowing what's going to happen. There's just like a comfort, like you said,
Right.
in knowing the plot and everything versus life, and that's really
Absolutely.
nice. That's something good.
I feel like a TV
Jack
show.
Black slays in that movie too.
He does. He's so perfect in it. I feel like a TV show though that's really comfort to me is Seinfeld.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
The Office to me is like an easy one, of course.
Period.
I've
But
still never
Seinfeld
seen a
is-
single episode of Seinfeld.
I think
What?
Trey's a big Seinfeld guy.
He
Had
is.
you-
Yeah, we really
Yeah.
bond
Okay,
about
Dustin
that's right,
Seinfeld.
yeah.
Rhodes, they're
Yes.
both that I've never seen.
So
an
many
episode.
good bits in Seinfeld.
Apparently a lot of relatable
Seinfeld
bits, yeah.
guys. Okay. Next question. It's a two-part question. What is the last? She's a big concert goer, everyone.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
What is the last concert you went to? And also, what is the best concert you've ever been to? So
Okay.
twofold.
Oh,
Okay, this is really fun because the last concert I went to was this past Monday. I got to see Joe
Wow.
Curie. Is that how you say his last
Yep.
name? Yeah, it's like the D
Joe.
Joe.
D-Joe.
But it's
That's a little-
truly one of the best shows I've been to. So it's funny that's like a two-part because I left going, was that the best show I've ever seen? So it was really
Wow.
great.
He's
great
the guy from
show.
Stranger Things.
He is.
He's
Okay.
Steve from Stranger Things.
Oh,
Steve.
yeah.
Yeah,
alright.
I was shook
just needed it
at
to
the
dawn on
production
everyone.
of
Okay.
that show. Yeah.
Okay, so is that your answer for both?
That one, or I'm also a Judah and the Lion. I
Yeah.
love them, and most of the shows that I leave from
I've
his are
also
just
seen them.
yeah, they're really great.
Solid.
So he puts on a great show.
I like that.
Okay. If your life group had a group chat, what would its name be?
That's really hard.
If.
Or if they do, I don't know.
name your life
I'm trying to
group?
think. We don't have a name.
I mean, I just know who all is in your
Group
life
chat
group, and I
number
felt like it was a
two.
fun
That's
question.
like day one stuff. Just name your life
just
group.
name.
Day
It's
one,
called
day one.
Life Group.
Adult 18.
Adult 18.
Okay, do you know what's actually a funny thing that we
What?
do? And this is maybe really it's a lot. But downstairs we have that whiteboard and we put prayer requests, praises, things on that.
Yeah.
But another group shares it with us, so we have to flip it over, and we have this really fun time where it prayer time we always shout, "Flip that board."
Oh.
So maybe that could be the
Okay,
name.
flip that board.
Flip
I kind
that
of
board.
love it.
Flip that board.
It's just a shouting
like it.
time for a prayer request.
I kind of
Makes
love
sense.
It's great.
it. Okay, and then last question. What celebrity would play you if there was a movie about your life?
It's a fun one.
That's great. I don't think I've ever been asked that.
Who would you want to play you if
Who-
there was a
that's what I say.
biopic about you?
Who would I want to play me? I don't even know. I don't think I have. It's not a look-alike question.
No.
Yeah, I don't.
Vibes and personality.
Who's got the range to play you?
The range.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I guess
depth.
maybe an easy answer to that is Florence Pugh, just because I love her. But I
so
don't
great.
know that we correlate in any way.
It's okay. I love that answer.
She's
That's cool.
a
It's
great
a
actress.
great
I
answer.
I
think.
think she's great. Anybody
She's a
else want to
great
answer that
actress.
question before we move on?
We did the sitcom at the Q&A that
We
a lot
did.
of
We
people
did.
went to.
I switched it up a little bit
Yeah, but
for
John
this
Stamos
one.
isn't playing me in a movie.
That's what I'm saying.
That was neither would Florence.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know.
All
There's
right.
look-alike answers for me, but I don't know that they would need him to play me in a movie.
I know. I don't really have any lookalikes, but I could probably
Right.
get behind. Maybe like Kristen Wiig or something.
That
Yeah,
would be fun.
I like that.
I'd
That's some
watch it.
homework right there.
I would watch
I was
it.
I was doing on the first takes. Okay.
I like it.
That is all
Great
of our first
questions.
take questions.
But-
So,
Bradley Cooper would play
oh
you.
Lord.
Bradley Cooper?
Hey,
Yeah.
that's actually a
That
good
just hit
answer.
That
me.
is
That's
yeah.
a good
That just hit
answer.
me.
answer.
Good
See, that was pretty
answer.
good.
I casted
Nicely
that.
done.
That's
Flip
happening.
that board.
Okay. Thanks for sharing your first takes.
Thanks.
Moving on to a little bit more of the content of our podcast today. Will you just start by sharing a little bit about your life or your story and kind of what led you to the current ministry position that you have now?
Yeah. I think when I reflect on my story, I think there's a lot in it that does help me get here. That makes sense. And so I feel like oftentimes when I tell my testimony, I always remember in the New Testament, you hear a lot where it says, and he or she was saved and so was their household, you know, and I think like first that's just really beautiful, or like he or she was baptized and so was their household. And I think my story feels that way a lot. Like there was just a household moment for my family. And so I think to kind of get into it a little bit, I didn't grow up church necessarily. I was the kid who maybe would go to a VBS or like a Wednesday night or things, but that wasn't a priority in our lives. I didn't talk about God at home and things. And really, my parents as a child, and even a lot of my family, there was a real big idolization of maybe the party scene, for lack of better words. And I think alcohol was really idolized, and it just cultivated a lot of addiction in our family. It cultivated a lot of fighting and just the highs and lows of that. For me, though, as a child, I kind of was a natural lover of that darkness. I can remember as a child just yearning for that, waiting for the day that I could partake in those things. And I just thought that's what life is, that's what joy is, that's what fun is. And so I really wanted those things. And I think the Lord showed up in our lives in a really mighty way. And all of those things that I thought were sacred, the things that I really held dear, and I think that my family did too, that felt irreplaceable, was just stripped away and replaced with something so much better. And really that started with, we were invited to a baptism. Actually, it was one of our, my cousins at the time, and we went to her baptism and we heard the gospel that day. And I think just through the Spirit, of course, that my family was really convicted of sin and convicted of just the way that we were living, what we prioritized. And I can also vividly remember it was a couple of weeks after hearing that message that the pastor at the time came to my house to talk further about those things. And it's actually Ray Early.
I knew.
Yeah, he was a great mentor to my family and still is. But I can vividly remember actually washing the dishes with my dad. I wasn't really, like, I was just there making a mess, but we were doing the dishes after dinner or something. And there was, like, the knock at the door, and my dad, like, freezes, and I was, like, getting ready to be like, I'll go get it. Like, I'm on it, you know, and he was like, go to your room. And I was like, oh, okay. I go to my room, and I didn't get to hear the conversation that they had, but I remember after that, I just truly met a different mom and dad. Like, it was just radical change. It felt like overnight I watched my dad, he was so self-reliant, and it felt comfortable to me because he was like, I could count on it. Like, he took care of us. He placed a lot of value in his marriage and caring for us and in his image and those things. And it was like he broke, that he realized I can't reconcile them to God in and of my own strength. And for me, in the beginning, I really bucked against this new life. I was like, this is boring. And I think I just wanted to bide my time. I thought, you know, one day I can just make my own decisions, do what I want. And it was really through being in children's ministry, being a child during that time. I was maybe 10 or so, and hearing the gospel a ton, that I was like, I actually can't ride the coattails of my family. I just kind of always thought, I'll go to heaven with my family. Like, I can do whatever I want, though. And it was really hearing the gospel that I realized, no, I myself have sin. I do things that are offensive, and I want things that are offensive to God, and that I need Jesus, you know, to have a relationship not only here on earth with him, but, of course, to experience eternity with him. And so I can obviously articulate that now, but, you know, as a child, I just knew that my life was about Jesus. I remembered now wanting the things of God, right? I wanted to be in church. I wanted to hear the gospel. I remember thinking, too, of mission trips. To me, it was always, I could visualize that. It wasn't, maybe I'll do that. It was like, when am I going to do that? So just as a child, I started yearning for those things of the Lord. But I think it's important, too, for me to mention, after this conversion of my family, it was very soon that my dad was called into ministry as well. He's eventually become a pastor. He still is today. And my family also started foster care, which was transformative for me as a child. It was huge. And it was definitely viewed as ministry for us in that moment. And I think it was kind of a twofold thing for me. That was really where my call to ministry, I think, started, and my love for children, and reflecting back on how I, as a child, was taught and cared for and loved so much. I think that was kind of a product of fostering. And then, of course, I always love to share a story of adoption, that it was through fostering too. My family felt complete with the adoption of my 3 other siblings. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit of my story. And then, of course, I can mention, going through high school and college, like that ministry, you start to work it out and you start to process it and work through it. And I didn't always know what it would look like, but I think that the Lord gives gifts for a reason. And I feel like there's a little bit of a giftedness that I have with being able to teach children and to get on their level, and to be able to have the privilege of doing that in a gospel focus is amazing to me. I mean, I majored in elementary education too, so I taught for 6 years, but to be able to wholly focus that in ministry has been a big privilege. But just really quickly too, I think, to how did I get here, right? When I graduated, I was teaching for several years, but I had a great privilege to join the staff at the Baptist Collegiate Ministries there at Southeastern, which I'm still working at today. I do kind of that part-time, it comes together to full-time workout, right? But it was also through that and being plugged into the church here and wanting to be in ministry and wanting to do that in a full-time way that I was able to have conversation with people here at the church, have conversation with people who were already serving in the children's ministry here, and just find a way to plug in. And the Lord worked it out to where I could do it and could start that this summer. So that's a little bit
Very
of
cool.
an answer, yeah.
That's beautiful. It seems like such a natural transition and change of life for your whole family into what you're doing now. I mean, looking back, it probably is a little rockier than that, but it seems like such an obvious plan for your life. That's really cool to see. And I think you reference being a child is such a developmental stage of life, and there's a lot going on, and we even kind of halfway reference like thinking about our childhood and what the church had to do with our childhood, and there was like an immediate feeling or response, and this seems like kind of a simple, trivial question, but I think it's more than that. When we think of like, what do you feel, and this is for everyone, but what do you feel the significance of church is for a child?
Yeah, I think that is it. It feels like a simple question, but it's really huge, right? Like
seriously.
There's so many avenues I think you can go to talk about it, but I think on a personal standpoint first, it's really crazy for me to reflect back and think about the seeds that were sown in my heart as a child, right? Like if I really look back, like I said, I yearned for things of the world as a child, and like that was just cultivated in me. And so when you think about the effort of cultivating goodness and the gospel in children's lives, like that's where it's happening at church. And so like, why is it important? Because they're going to be getting taught something. And it's like, if we can bring them here, if we can pour into them here, just sowing the seeds of the gospel, you're going to see the Spirit work in that. And so I even can think of my mom. I was talking with her recently about how she often feels that she was maybe saved as a child and went through such a wandering, and maybe it was in her 30s, as I said in my testimony, that she really surrendered to the Lord or stepped into obedience, right? And so there's also this beautiful promise that whatever we sow now, maybe you don't see the fruits right away, but it can come later. And so it's just, I think it's important because, we're going to be sowing something in their hearts, and how good for it to be the gospel and for it to be the things of God.
Yeah, for kids, it's definitely like that stage before. It's crazy to think about knowing anything about God at all.
Right.
And so it's like a blank canvas. And I was thinking about this earlier, but I think I've heard Matt Chandler say before, kind of the goal with children is to prepare the kindling of their soul. Like it hadn't, that fire hadn't set yet, but we have the opportunity to kind of like set it up. And what's cool is, obviously like Tani and I are responsible for our boys at home, but they're also through church getting the chance to meet different people at all different stages of life that get an opportunity to kind of kindle their hearts. The boys, even down to Miles at 3 years old, looking at like just building that up. So when God ignites that, when they do come to know him, that fire is not only just lit, like it's got something to live off of because it has this prior knowledge of Bible stories and things. And it's powerful. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about it quite a bit now that I have my own children and I didn't grow up in church. I mean, like, Skylar shared as well, just like going to like the one-off thing, like riding the church van to stuff because
Right.
like, I mean, I just didn't grow up in a very like we definitely didn't ever go to church together. If I ever went, it was by myself or with my sister. So it's just like a very different thing than I hope my children will grow up in, a very different environment. And I mean, the Lord saved me anyway, so it's not like, you know, like he can do anything. And like, but I will say, like, during the time, he doesn't make any mistakes. He knew when he was going to call me to himself. Like, but I will say, like, there's a lot of like hurt that I not necessarily would have avoided because some of it's unavoidable, but there's some things that I did that I'm like, oh, yikes. Like, and I don't necessarily think I would have, not that I wouldn't have, because again, you literally can't know that. And people who are believers, you know, we all still sin, so we all still make mistakes. And I mean, there's just some, I mean, and even like some hurt that like I didn't treat my sister very well. Like when I was in high school, like I was like just mean, honestly, for lack of better words. I probably still would have been if I would have been saved, but I would like to think that, you know, if I had grown up with a different set of values, that I might have been a little kinder to her. Yeah. And so, anyways, no way to know about any of that, but I do, and again, we don't control like when the Lord saves our children, or if or whatever. But like I'm encouraged by having other people, like you said, like other people pouring into your kids that aren't just yourself. Like I just think there's something that's so encouraging about that, and like you're not really fully on your own. Like there, you have a community of support, and you have a ministry that supports your kids, and like a ministry that's pouring like the word of God into your kids. And I just think that's just so wildly, vastly different than what I experienced as a child that I just think it's encouraging.
Yeah.
So last episode we visited with Will about kind of like Gen Z, and now we're looking at Gen Alpha, correct?
Yep.
We don't have beta at all, right? Like,
no, but
okay, should just be all Gen Alpha that we're dealing with from. What do you think our church needs to know about where they're at? Can you even get a grasp on that yet? I mean...
Yeah. That's a great question. I feel like there's some, like, easy, like, answers to pull when you think about that generation, especially if I take into account, like, teaching, right? But I do feel like attention span is, like, a real thing.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right? Like, and something to know about kids today is, like, attention span is real, and like I mean, I don't know if that's where we want to go with this question, but I think about a lot, like when I'm trying to teach the depth of God, you know, to children today when they're maybe not quite able to attend and like get there, like that's an interesting thing to like think through and to go through. And so I do think what to think about children is today, that's part of it. But I think on a deeper level, children are so underestimated, just period, and maybe have been always. Children have such an ability to understand. They might not be able to articulate it, but they can get it, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's great with kids because you're able to watch them play out what they understand. Like, again, you might not be able to talk it out with them, but you're going to see them live it. Yeah. And so I think that children are really underestimated. I think that, especially when it comes to the gospel, there's such an easy temptation to water it down, such an easy temptation to feel like, well, I have to give them kid things. And so I think, I know it sounds funny because it's like contradictory, right? Well, they have a short attention span, but give them like the depths. But maybe it's just like your method changes a little bit of how you do it, but that they have that ability, and they love deeply, they laugh like with their whole bodies, like, you know, so there's just depth to children. Yeah.
I think about like the attention span. My boys are a little bit older than I think children's ministry, 11 and 13, but like when Bible Project came out, I'm like fascinated by this like cartoon version of the Bible. I'm like, that's so cool. And I show them, and like a minute in, they're like, okay.
Like over it. And stuff
Like,
you
no, it's
think they're really
explaining.
gonna love, they're like, no.
Yeah, it really is. It's short. I mean, in teaching, I was showing 5-minute videos when I first started teaching, and then by the time I was stepping out of teaching, it was like 2 minutes is about all they can handle. We're
Yeah.
talking 7th graders. I mean,
Right.
so it's like a little older than that even. But yeah, I immediately thought of like, how are they going to study the Bible? How are they going to sit and
Yeah.
spend time with the Lord in a quiet space? Like, when do they get quiet space? These are the things I feel for myself a little bit. What are you guys' thoughts on, like, I have this visual of like kids sitting and watching everything going on in life right now, like kind of right above them. It's almost like they're seeing all the things going on in culture and in life right now, but they don't really understand what's going on, but they're seeing it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we disciple them in kind of like the crazy things going on, but they're not completely aware, but surely they're somewhat aware.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts? I know that we can probably cut this if we need to, because I don't know if we have an answer.
No,
But
I do think it's a great question because I mean we've talked about it a little bit about like when we talked about youth age kids and college age. I mean up to literally adults, but just like all the information we have and like all the news we see it's just like so different than when we were like. I mean the iPhone came out in 2007, so. Like, you know, first half, you know, like when I was young, like really young, like there wasn't like a lot of readily available. It's like if you're not watching the news, you're not knowing. And I was not watching the news unless my dad had it on. Occasionally I would like tune in and out, but like I didn't know like as much as I feel like they know now. Right. And that is a very interesting thing to navigate.
And we could do so. I'm not turning this to a therapy session, but we can do some like looking back at ourselves. We dealt with the 95 Oklahoma City bombing as children.
Yeah.
Y'all's was probably more 9/11.
Yeah.
And they're having their moments right now, like COVID and different things. Like, maybe what's our thoughts on like how we would have best discipled ourselves through those moments? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'll kind of get things kickstarted because I think you mentioned it. Caught and taught is something I think about a lot. There are things we can teach them and tell them that maybe they don't understand, but maybe how we handle these situations are caught, and that's something that they'll actually apply over life, over their lifetime. I think of when I deal with kids, whether my own or others, and they're getting emotional over something. I mean, we're seeing some extreme emotions through kids, I'm sure, as a teacher, just out of COVID. There's like, I don't know why, but some explosive emotions. And I've had to really work on like not trying to match that energy and meet them there, but rather model calmness in their crazy. So whether it's in the moment or maybe trying to figure out, you know, this Charlie Kirk assassinate, whatever. Yeah. When they're trying to respond, I think maybe my emotions and how I handle that is something that's caught, because obviously it's going to be hard to have to teach them unless they bring it up.
Yeah, I think modeling is huge. Go ahead. You can say more on that.
Well, I feel like getting into the teaching aspect of it. I think it's just a weird thing in general when kids discovered the world, you know, like what you're talking, like when you think about the bombing or like 9/11, like those types of things, when they finally realize how big it is, how many people there are, and it can feel really explosive to them emotionally. But I do think like that's key. And like, I mean, you can see that in teaching, you can see that in children's ministry, I'm sure in parenting, like you trying to display what's going to help them. It's like who likes to be told, hey, calm down, like when you're freaking out?
That's true, yeah.
But if you can display calm, like, you know, like, then they can maybe seek after it. But I think like the emotional thing is huge today. And I think really it is just about modeling and like trying to show them where they can be and what they can get to and things. But I think it's just, I don't know, it's hard. I do think like there's a way with the gospel, of course, like helping them navigate these huge things. and relating it back to Jesus on their level,
Yeah.
which is just, that's hard and that's easier said than done and feels really simple. But I think of like conversations I've had upstairs with kids, like what you're saying, you might have a kid just randomly shout, "Did y'all see Charlie Kirk?" Like, these cultural things that are happening. And it's okay. How do we view this through the lens of God?
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean what are, and sometimes it's as simple as asking them, what has this taught us about humans? What has this taught us about God? Like what, and like helping them process in that way. But yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, and what better than Bible stories with a lot of extreme situations and emotions that come with it to learn those and how
Right.
Yeah, no
people
kidding.
of the Bible handle that. Yeah, teachers are incredible. It's like, I mean, let's walk around the dead squirrel class. I mean, like, like how they handle things and maintaining their emotions. All right, I went real rogue on that. Sorry.
No, I thought that was
Corey, anything?
I don't have kids. My job is teaching adults. I didn't grow up in church. All my church experiences as a kid were bad. Even when I got into church as a teenager, I was part of a movement that I didn't really love, call it the WWJD movement. Had a lot of casualties.
Youth group.
So I'm just more listening. I'm like the most counterculture guy for this podcast, for this episode. So I am mostly just soaking in right now because I do think it's very interesting and it's a big conversation because I all I can do is kind of like speak on observation and not experience, I guess. So I'm like not really sure when to talk right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with the random though, because when I think about like bringing my kids around people,
You're like, don't go near Cory. Is that where we're going?
just give them a little room. We've seen him on stage. Just give them a little space. No, but like when we say caught and taught, my kids will be taught things directly in life group or Wednesday night, whatever. But I love that if I bring them around the church enough that they're going to bump into people and catch things about people.
Yeah.
Like your passion for worship. Like my kids are going to catch that. They love that. Kids love to see you like excited because they want to wiggle. They want to move. You know what I mean? And like you're giving them the freedom to do that. So whether it's you or whoever, whatever stage of life they're in, that's awesome. That's exciting. Where else am I going to get that community that I can bring my kids around?
that's exactly what I've been thinking about this whole time because the original question was like, what do we need to know about children and like why is children's ministry important? And I think like at the end of the day, it's that because like I'm like naturally an anxious person, so like I want to try to model to my kids like not to let that like I want to be transparent about it, but like not to let that like make your decisions for you, not to just stress and worry about everything, like blah, 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 blah. Like, I can only do so much because I only have so many, like, gifts that you know what I mean? And everyone else that I like, that are in my kid's life, that are part of our community, who also love Jesus, like, they all have different gifts and different things. And, like you said, like, my kids may, like, latch on to other things. And I just pray that, like, kids who come through our ministry, like, through Skylar and through our other helpers or people who dedicate their time to this ministry, that like they'll see other people's love for the Lord, maybe in a different way than I'm displaying it at home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ramble. Can I ramble?
For sure.
Cool.
We've rambled a lot. Go for it.
Mainly, I keep going back to a word in my brain, and it's curiosity. Because I'm what they call an instructional designer. I essentially build and write curriculum.
Whoa, look at
Me
that.
too.
Like your
There you
connections.
Wow.
27 pods in.
Essentially, yeah, just
We just found out y'all
my
did the same
actual
job.
title is instructional designer.
yeah. I'm an instructional designer,
That's
so
incredible.
I literally create curriculum for adults at a corporate setting where there's leadership or policy or whatever. And I should never have gotten hired for this job. I have no experience or training in this or education in education, but I've actually excelled in this job because I kind of like went at it of like, okay, how would I want to learn this really boring subject? And I noticed that most of our stuff was, how long can we make it? And I said, let's, because we've already talked about attention span.
Yep.
And I'm a millennial, and like the adults I deal with on any given day also have short attention spans.
Yeah.
And what I've gotten the feedback from my trainings is I'm going to make an e-learning and it's going to be 5 minutes. Because if they click on something and it says 5 minutes, they're like, oh, I can give you 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If it says an hour, they're like already in their
It's
brain going, I'm going to
defeated.
hit play and walk off. You know?
Exactly.
And so, and the way, but again, the question is, like you're saying, like, how do you go into a classroom full of kids and say, I got to teach you God? That's a deep subject, and
I'm teaching God today.
you're already like following the moth around the, it's kind of like, okay, I need your attention. And like the way I've approached curriculum at an adult level is curiosity. I said, all right, I just need them for 5 minutes, and I'm going to give them enough about this policy or this leadership to say, this is important. Here's like the basics of it. If you want to go deeper, let's go deeper. It's kind of like that. And it's the way I kind of look at marriage, and it's kind of the way I look at my own faith is like, I want to always like stoke a curiosity about God. I'm like always questioning everything. I'm always asking myself questions, and I'm always trying to say like, all right, like what if this, I've read I've read the Satanic Bible just because I'm like, all right, what's this say? If I ever meet someone that's like, I'm into this, I'm like, all right, let's talk. Cause I've read this, and I'm kind of like, wondering if curiosity is a big thing in terms of like raising, again, I don't have children, but it's like, is that what you have to do as a parent? It's to say like, I can't teach, I'm still figuring this out. I'm going to be figuring this out forever. All I can do is just try to keep you curious and interested in this instead of like, because again, I was part of the What Would Jesus Do bracelet movement where everyone thought that was like that quote right there was everything. If I ask myself this for the rest of my life, I'll always be a Christian. And then like by the time I graduated high school, those bracelets were all in the trash can, and most of my friends had like left the church. And so and it was wild. So like
and then they came back just because they're nostalgic.
and that's the thing. So I'm just kind of like,
Trolling
it's
us millennials.
at what point do we just have to say like this just almost has to just be a curiosity thing.
No,
Like
I think
constantly.
curiosity is like such a good word.
Yeah.
And I think like specifically with like kids ministry, thinking about, again, like I've talked a little bit like methodology, like sometimes like has to be thought of. And when I was saying dealing with like these cultural things and you simply ask, well, what does this teach you about humans? What does this teach you about God? Like really that's helping stoke curiosity a little bit. They're having to wonder, right?
Yeah.
But I think too, like I know one thing that we're really desiring to start on our Wednesday nights is almost like a station style like service, right, for our kids, because they get the physicality, right? They get to move and do these things, but they become curious about what's next. What am I doing? But really they're being curious about the things of God, like wanting to look at those different things. But I think the curiosity in a child is really wonderful to be able to talk about God, because they're going to go there with you. They're going to think about it with you. They're going to wonder with you. They're going to, do all of those things. So I think it's really important. And anytime we can like stoke that, they're going to have ownership in what they're doing. Yeah.
The Bible doesn't lack any curiosity or things to be curious about.
Yeah, and I mean, and I say all that because I think even like I started going to church because I didn't grow up in it. I think I remember being invited to church as a little kid. It was like one of those bait and switch youth things where they said they were going to take us to a circus, but then I ended up at a church.
Circus.
But yeah, then we ended up in a classroom and they're like, all right, class, we've been studying the books of the Bible, and they go.
With like posters of the circus on the wall.
And like she starts going around the room, it's like, and this kid's like Genesis, and they go down, it gets to me, and I'm like, what are y'all talking about? And like, and she like chastised me, and I'm like, I got invited, I've never been
Where's
here.
the Ring of Fire?
And so for like 10 years, anytime anybody invited me to church, I was like, no, I got yelled at once because I didn't know what came after John. And so like,
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
And so, but some kid invited me, and I ended up going, and I didn't grow up in a family that, but even I would say that like my experience going to church, like middle school and high school, all the way through, because I just trashed all the WWJD kids. But like, I don't think I was like a practicing Christian in like high school and middle school. I think I was just there because I was curious. I was like, here's a subculture. They feel like they got something. I kind of want to know what it is. But like you said, there were seeds planted there that when I got into an adult age, then it's like, then it clicks. All right, cool. This makes sense to me now, on some level, because it was just curiosity, and so.
And it is kind of exciting. We talked about like college ministry and college students, like feeling like we're in good hands and like just seeing some form of like spiritual awakening, revival going on, I think, at the moment. But just to think even further, like, okay, what's Alpha going to do with spirituality and Christianity?
Yeah.
Are we going to have stations for worship? What are we? What is this going to look like
Right.
down the road? It's pretty exciting.
I don't know. It'll probably be in good hands. I'm sure.
I think so, too.
Like, I still think
To think they'll be discipled by our college-age students.
that, or like, I
In
mean, they're
church.
gonna figure out. Like, I mean, again, God's bigger than everything we're gonna. It was bigger than my idiocy as a kid, and bigger than my curiosity. As a teenager, to the point it finally got to a place where it clicks, right? And you grow up and you stop being stupid. Because even in college ministry, I had a terrible time. Even though everyone around me was having a great time, I had a terrible time. But it was still a curiosity of like, well, this makes sense to everyone else. So like you just kind of stick with it. But like, I think it's easy sometimes to like kind of like harken back to our last episode with Will to kind of look down at youth and go, they're idiots. They didn't have it like we had it. And I don't know. I just feel like you're gonna have a whole generation of these Gen Alpha kids, and they're just gonna be like, hey, I use ChatGPT to study the Bible and it works. Or hey, like I created my own GPT that's a Bible study.
Right.
God's bigger than whatever's gonna get thrown at whatever generation comes. That they'll use whatever's at their disposal to get closer. So.
Yeah, and like I think it all ties back to what she was saying about how like really it's more about like your approach is changing as you do the ministry for that. It's not really like there's no like it's not negative, positive, this, that. It's just like it's just different, and like all generations are different, and they're growing up differently than we did, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just about like, and if you're in a ministry, figuring out how to relate back to them, or really just how to effectively share the gospel.
Yeah.
With
Even
different
this
types of people.
Episode reminds me just to make sure we see our children.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
That's huge.
they are the church also. I mean, we were brave to say, college students, you are the church. Well, yeah, as children, you are the church as well. Especially if you've given your life to Christ, you possess the Holy Spirit, and you are absolutely the church as well.
Right.
So to see them, and I'm grateful and thankful we have a children's ministry that sees them every time they walk in the door, and they're ministering to their heart in their own kid language, whatever that looks like, is really encouraging. I did think of this. Do you have like resources for parents you'd recommend that you guys use? We can edit this. I just thought about it randomly.
Yeah, we're working on that. We're looking at a new curriculum called Hi-Fi.
Okay.
And what I love about it is it's very holistic in the sense of it's helping us on a daily, right?
Oh,
but
cool.
that there's also a lot of resources we're going to start being able to offer parents.
Oh, awesome.
From simple things to like conversation starters at dinner, which I think are really simple but fun and can go deep really fast. So like things we want to start giving parents in that way, and then even deeper of like, okay, my child has made a decision, or my child is wanting to be baptized, whatever the topic is, right? There's some guidance on what to ask, like how to walk
Good.
through.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is
I know
really encouraging.
that's very simple, but there's that curriculum, like I said, that I'm so pumped about, is so holistic to
Yeah.
the child. So
That's
I think there's
awesome.
going to be a lot to offer.
Very cool.
And I think you're saying it is simple, but like it's also very overwhelming.
Intimidating.
It's very overwhelming
Yeah.
to think like, what should I be asking
Mhm.
at dinner, or like what, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, of course, like the Lord
Yeah.
will speak through you, but it's,
Right.
I think it's nice to have resources where it's
Yes.
like, okay.
Because sometimes at the very least that resource sparks something in you.
Yes,
So it's like even if you
exactly.
use it or
It's
not,
just good for
Remind you.
parents too, I
yeah,
think.
it's just something to have.
It's encouraging for parents to
I
hear
agree.
that, I feel like.
Yeah.
Cole, do we still have Right Now Media? Doesn't that have kid shows and stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of kids content on there.
Maybe
Yeah.
we link
Yeah,
that
Cole
or
actually
something.
plays Right Now Media
Do you?
for Heath sometimes. He'll pull up. Can I get Heath interested in it? Depends on the day.
I know it's crazy
It just
how they can
depends on
tell
the
one.
What's funny
Day.
is we have Right Now Media and we use it upstairs a ton, and the kids go crazy for creators. That's one, and then
Okay.
Bible Man,
Okay,
which
perfect.
is
I'm glad
like
to know.
as an adult watching it, I'm like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen, and they are like silent. Like it's the one time it's silent.
Bible Man.
They're like chanting Bible Man for me to turn it on.
I love
That's
it.
So yeah,
hilarious.
those little things too are fun, but that's on that
That's
media.
funny. So for anybody listening that is a parent or grandparent interested in our children's ministry, what do we have during the week that can serve our children?
Yeah, on Sunday we have our same services that mimic downstairs, right? So if they want to attend the 8:30, they can come for a children's church experience. Of course, we have worship, a time of hearing God's word, prayer, things like that, to help them. Like, I love how you mentioned they are the church now, so helping them see that, And we do that at 8:30. We do that at 11:15 as well. In between, at the 10 o'clock, we like to have life groups for them too, because again, they're going to get deeper teaching during that time, but it's also helping them understand the culture of our specific church. Like, a life group is, we want them plugged into that always. So they have life groups for them. We have that for K through 4th grade. They have their own classroom. Wednesday nights, of course, we meet at 6, and we have, of course, fun with them. I love Wednesday nights because we get to do games and,
cool.
Be a little more relaxed and things, but of course, hear the word of God and be together and to learn as well.
Awesome.
Cool.
Very cool. Well, Skylar, thank you for joining us. It's been fun thinking of children's ministry, and just like I said earlier, just seeing them and knowing what they're doing. Sometimes we get busy with all that we have going on and forget that these little people are interacting with God and His Word and being led in that. So we appreciate it. So
Can I do one more plug for an event?
yes,
We have something really cool coming up that I'm excited about on December 5th. We'll post this on Realm and Facebook and things, but we're wanting to do a movie night for our families
that's
with
cool.
Christmas. So
Yeah.
at 5:30, we're hoping our families as a whole come, and we'll have, of course, like hot cocoa and some candy canes and things. But we want to meet in the Student Life Center and watch the star, but also have a time to pray together as families and enjoy that together. So that's a fun event coming up for our kids ministry.
that'll be great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So church, continue to encourage our children, disciple them, and now go make disciples of all nations.